Hi friends, this is Gio, and welcome to my channel. This story is called Scarlet. If you get a minute, please remember to like and subscribe. Let's begin. I stood in the doorway of the restaurant Troubadour, holding the heart-shaped box of Belgian chocolates, and my heart chilled. So did the rest of me. Mr. Hattinger, it's a pleasure to see you again, the host said, quickly scanning the logbook. I'm sorry, but I don't see a reservation. We must have made a mistake. I won't be long. I'm crashing somebody else's party, I said. Happy Valentine's Day to me. I wanted to flush my head in the nearest toilet. Louis Hattinger. That's me. Most people know me by my stage name, Scarlet. Wild keyboardist for Pilot. My hair was spiked blonde with red tips. I wore a red leather jacket with a black bow tie and a pink shirt. My lapel held a row of rainbow pins, and my left ear was pierced 7 times, all in a row, with a different colored stud in each piercing in the order of the rainbow. Of course I wore eyeliner, and had harlot red eyeshadow and custom-painted lips. I'm the Louis Hattinger. I make sure nobody is like me. Ren, that's Renato Ascot, the man I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, sat in the restaurant, next to another man. As in, almost superglued to the other man. Their chairs were close, their hands touching, flirting. Ren was an airbrush artist with dark hair and dark eyes, and the flashing, mischievous smile I had fallen in love with. Stared at the older man with the same suggestive look he always looked at me with. The other man had a trimmed, elegant beard with streaks of gray, and deep brown hair with touches of silver, and the classic face of a handsome man who defied the years. He must easily be 50. Old enough to be Ren's father. I'd met Ren's father, and this wasn't him. Ren wore the pale blue silk shirt I had given him, and the dinner jacket we had found in Paris. The older man wore a light gray suit with an expensive-looking burgundy tie. That was probably a custom Apollo tie, imported from Italy. He was no stranger to the finer things in life. Me? I wore the tie Ren had given me, one we'd found in a little store near Chelsea Market only last Christmas. The older man seductively poured the wine. His mouth hinted of a smile. I knew the label, a 1994 French blush champagne Ren and I had discovered 2 months ago at a small dive of a bar in Soho. The wine trickled into the clear fluted glass, and the old man handed it to Ren before pouring one for himself. Ren took it, and whispered something with a slight drunken giggle. A toast, no doubt. The 2 men sipped their pink champagne, then set their glasses down. If you'll let me know who it is you're looking for, I'll take you right to them, the host said. I've already found them, I said. Ren leaned in and kissed the other man. Not the kind of kiss reserved for one's parents or one's in-laws, but a sensual flirting of lips, a kiss of intimate lovers who didn't care if anyone saw. I had tasted Ren's lips many times. I thought their touch was only for me. Ren had said so, had said we would always be together. What else had he lied about? Had anybody in the history of the world felt as stupid as I did right now? Or embarrassed, or angry, or betrayed, or cold, or numb? I twirled the 2 rings on my ring finger. One for me, the other was for Ren. They were matching and custom, a mix of 14-karat gold and 14-karat white gold, polished to a mirror finish, and I had inscribed them with, Louis loves Ren, and the date we'd first met. I shouldn't do this. I should turn around and leave. That's my usual style. Instead, I walked towards the man I loved. Correction, had loved, desperately. Neither of them saw me, but I saw them, The older man slid his chair a few inches closer to Wren, and his hand rested on Wren's thigh, as in upper thigh. His hand had a gold ring on the ring finger. A married man. Wren always liked to live dangerously. They kissed again, their tongues tickling. They kissed like that. Here? Neither one of them saw me, but Wren's left hand reached up and held the other man. A glint of gold graced his ring finger. Wren was engaged. I took a deep breath and felt my soul shatter. The love Wren and I shared had not lasted. Taking out my keys, I quickly removed my key to Wren's condo and stood next to the amorous couple. "Set our dinners down, please, and we'll get to them momentarily," the older man mumbled through the kiss. "I'm not your waiter," I said, and removed the second ring from my finger. I dropped it in Wren's pink blush. I dropped the key in the older man's champagne. The soft clink of metal against glass made both men glance at the wineglass, then at me. "Louis," Wren said, scooting his chair a little away from the older man. His eyes grew wide and panicky. "You're back early." "I flew in from D.C. to surprise you. Happy Valentine's Day," I said. "Who is this?" the older man began. His hand had snapped away from Wren's leg as if bitten by a rattler. "I'm Louis Hattinger, keyboardist for Pilot, and Wren's fiancé," I said. "Well, almost fiancé. I was going to ask tonight, but I guess I'm too late." "Fiancé?" Wren said, staring at me, then at the older man. I guess I had spoiled their mood. Good for me. "I wanted my proposal to be a surprise," I said, flashing a quick grin. "It worked. I'm surprised." "How did you know I was here?" Wren said. I ignored the question and handed my ex-lover, the box of chocolates. "These are for you. Special ordered from that candy store we liked in Belgium, and I had the ring made custom. Keep them. We won't be needing them." "I can explain," Wren said. "I'm sure I'd love to hear it, but you're on a date with the man you love." "I wish it had been me," I said. "Enjoy your dinner." "Allow me to explain," the older man said. "Wren needs someone who appreciates him and his talents. He's a remarkable man who you've let waste away. He needs someone who will understand him, protect him, help him nurture his work, and I believe I can do that." "Of course I appreciate him. I love him. Otherwise I wouldn't have flown all this way. Wren, is this how you feel?" I said. "Louis," Wren said, his hands suddenly fidgeting, and he avoided looking at me. "I had written a song just for you, and I tucked it in the chocolates. Pretty corny, right? I was going to sing it for you tonight, right before we made love, and then fly us to the Bahamas tomorrow for the weekend. I love you," I said. "You were always on tour," Wren stammered. "Yes, I am, but you knew that when we fell in love," I said. "I don't want to fight, but I became lonely. Charlie makes me feel alive," Wren said. "What Wren is trying to say is he needs someone who is there for him, who makes him feel important, that he isn't second to someone's career," Charlie said. "I'm sorry, Louis," Wren said. "But this man is at least 20 years older than you, maybe 30, I said. 33, Charlie said. "Charlie makes me feel in ways you didn't," Wren said, his voice soft. "I get it. You needed more than I could give. What we had ended a long time ago, and I never noticed," I said. Both the older man and Wren glanced at each other. Wren seemed like he wanted to hide under the table. "I'm sorry, Louis," Wren said. "I loved you. I really loved you, and I wanted to give you the world." "Enjoy your date," I said. "Louis, I'm sorry. It just happened," Wren said. "Don't worry. I'm not going to make a scene. I'll gracefully disappear. It's been fun, Wren. At least it was until tonight. Happy Valentine's Day," I said, and walked out a depressed and unexpectedly free man. The valet brought around my car, and I sped into the night. One quick stop for a pint of Ben & Jerry's chocolate something, and I went to my condo. My lonely condo. I found a couple of boxes and put everything in them that reminded me of Ren. His clothes, the tie, his charger cords, his pillow, his art supplies, and the portrait he had painted for me called Scarlet. I tried to forget the nights we had cuddled on the couch, sipping Cabernet and binge-watching some show, or the mornings we had woken next to each other. I tried to forget the fun we had playing tag in Central Park, of kissing as we shopped for Christmas presents, or laughing because we were so happy. The condo seemed lifeless. As soon as I put Ren's things by the door, I curled up with the chocolate ice cream and my keyboard and put my emotions into music. Surprise, I wrote a breakup song. About midnight, my phone rang. Ren. I've set your things by the door. You can pick them up tomorrow. I'll be gone, I said. I'm sorry things worked out this way, Ren said. Charlie and I, we were just two lonely guys having a drink. That's how it started. I didn't know he was going to propose, or that you would. Ren, I don't need to hear the details, I said. The next day, I flew to the Bahamas, alone, Ren's boxes still by my door. I accidentally got revenge. The paparazzi had followed me, and within a week, the breakup was on all the gossip shows and rag mags. I especially liked the shot of me dropping the ring into the champagne glass. It also identified the man, 56-year-old investment capitalist Charles Donaldson of the firm Donaldson, and Hicks, LLC, investment guru, millionaire, and perennial party boy. That was 6 months ago, and 2 short-term flings to try and forget Ren. Neither guy was anything like Ren. The tour ended, and even though I loved New York, I didn't feel like going to my condo, so I went to Vegas for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty good at blackjack. When the casino realized who I was, they let me play as much as I wanted. The frantic schedule of the tour didn't allow thinking time. Sitting in a casino, gambling my money away gave me too much thinking time. I had lots to think about. The first problem? My music was my life, but being on tour all the time was sucking the joy right out of me. The second problem? I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep doing this. I no longer enjoyed being in the band or traveling so much. The third problem? I was lonely. I could find and bed any guy I wanted, but no one could replace Ren. 6 months alone made me realize the fourth problem. I still loved Ren. I missed our daily chats, or traveling across the globe and sharing it with him, or popping in and surprising him. We had been together for 2 years, and I thought we had been happy. In the beginning, he came to my concerts no matter where they were. I tried to make it to his art openings, but being on tour made it difficult. When had it been easier not to make Ren a priority? When did my music take precedence over Ren's art? How long had I been so concerned about myself that I forgot about us? Maybe that was the problem. I expected the relationship to revolve around me. I was the alpha male, the leader, the dominant one. There was no room for anyone else to even think about being on top. I expected Ren to follow me around and be my convenient boyfriend. If we had married, Ren would have had to sacrifice his career, his goals, and his dreams to be with me. Ren had wanted more than that. It was always my needs, my dreams, my career, my this, my that, my. No wonder Ren had found love with another man, a rich man who could give my ex everything he deserved. I didn't like who I had become. I stared at the cards lying face up on the table, a jack of hearts and a jack of diamonds, Ren and me. The dealer had an ace of spades, a 6 of diamonds, and a 4 of hearts. 21. I had lost the game. Truth is, It didn't matter what the dealer held. I had already lost. I walked away. The casino had free Wi-Fi, and I looked up Ren's name. He had a showing in New York with an opening this Friday. Maybe I'd fly home and see how he was doing. I did a search and found a list of his other openings that I had missed. He'd had one almost every season for the last 2 years. How many openings had I been to? In the beginning, all of them. Lately, none of them. No wonder Ren found someone else. Next, I looked up Charles Donaldson. He was in the news 6 months ago as the man who broke up Louis Hattinger's relationship. He had been there for Ren's opening, and Ren had been with Charlie for several events. They were the current power couple of New York. With as popular as Charlie and Ren were, shouldn't there be some kind of engagement announcement? Ren hadn't been Charlie's first boyfriend, only this year's model. A year or so before Charlie had dated Ren, Charlie had some other guy playing the arm decoration. The other guy's ring finger had a simple gold band. When an escort got too old, Charlie traded the man in for a younger model. Something bothered me about this. Ren might be in for trouble. Vegas is the perfect place for soul-searching, especially since I'm alone. As wrong as it sounded, I would go to Ren's opening, but I would stay in the shadows. What if Ren recognized me? What if he and Charlie were still together? They must be. Charlie had given him a ring. I ended my stay in the Vegas sun and flew to New York without telling anyone. My condo was dark and cold and lonely. The boxes of Ren's stuff were gone, but the painting wasn't. It had a sticky note that simply said, "Look me up sometime and we'll have drinks." Ren's key to my apartment rested on the painting. When had I become so focused on myself that I had neglected the best thing that had ever happened in my life? Now Ren was gone. To pass the time, I wrote another song and sent it to my agent to suggest a title. It had reminded me of another song I had written, a special one only for Ren. I really didn't like who I had become. Instead of dressing in my usual flamboyant style, with eyeliner and makeup and piercings everywhere, I wore a somber dark gray suit with a light gray turtleneck and combed my hair to the side. I had only one simple silver stud in each ear and no rainbow pins. To finish the look, I added black-rimmed glasses. I looked as unlike me as I could look. Not even my bandmates would recognize me. I took a cab to the art gallery, Illumination Exclusives Gallery, pretending to not be me. The gallery was in an older part of town, renovated to look chic. The gallery itself had 4 large rooms, 2 filled with paintings for sale, and 1 filled with a collection of ceramic sculptures. Paintings by local up-and-coming artists filled the 4th room. Ren had 3 paintings hanging. I wandered with the group, looking at painting after painting. Taking a glass of white wine and a small lemon cream cookie from an attendant, I tried to blend in. Finally, the group made it to Ren's paintings. My ex had evolved. His work wasn't just airbrushed acrylic. He had used lights in the paintings. The first painting was a somber one, a series of bats and birds in dark muted colors. The focal point was one red bird flying away with a red LED for an eye. The title of the painting was "Take Me With You." The second painting was a strange series of gold flowers that exploded from the center of the canvas, but some of the flowers had wilted, as if they were rotting away. This painting also used a series of LEDs, but these were yellow and white. Each flower had an LED in the center, and all were lit except a small forgotten red flower falling into the corner. The title of the painting was "If." The third painting was another odd one. Ren had painted a chain-link fence which held back a pack of snarling birds, but he had focused all the detail on one gray bird and one red bird. The red bird was not behind the chain-link fence. The odd part was that the fence was crying blood. The really odd part was the odd silvery reflection in the red bird's eye. The painting also made use of LEDs. Each place where the chain link crossed had a blue or purple light. The exception was the single white light in the center of the red bird's silvery eye. The title of it was called The Wrong Choice. I stepped closer for a better look. The silver reflection was caused by a silvery ring attached to the bird's eye. It was the ring I had dropped in Wren's wine 6 months ago, and I still kept its match back in my condo. Can you imagine hanging that in your living room? There's been such a violentness in Wren Ascot's work lately. I don't like it, a woman said to a man. But you must admit, the artist is not afraid to experiment. Look at the use of the lights and such unusual subject matter. I suspect he's trying to evoke the darker emotions, a man said, taking a sip of his white wine. Wren isn't as popular as he used to be, and he doesn't paint as much as when he dated that rock and roll fellow. I want something more positive than what Wren produces. For instance, look at those pictures across the way, the woman said, and the couple walked off. I expected to find Wren here, but he was a no-show. Casually, I surveyed the rest of the yard, finding a few pictures that I liked. I had almost finished my wine when Wren entered. Black suit, black shirt, black tie, black sunglasses, hair gelled tightly back, and his face a serious play in seriousness. This wasn't the Wren of 6 months ago. Charlie entered the room. Wren's hand quickly gripped Charlie's arm, and Charlie placed his other hand firmly on top of Wren's. Charlie stood tall, a confident smile on his lips. Wren stayed a little behind the other man, letting Charlie lead. Charlie wore a similar gray suit to what he had worn the only time I had seen him. Several people approached, and Charlie did the talking. Wren remained silent. When someone approached Wren, he simply nodded and let Charlie take over. I bet there is a story there. I'm pretty nosy. Let's see what I can find out. I took another glass of wine, more for decoration than to drink, and joined the crowd around Wren and Charlie. Charlie was eating the sup. He was the only one who did the talking, so I spoke with a Boston accent and played a little game. Mr. Ascot, I'm with the Boston Gazette. What inspired you to use the lights in your paintings? I asked. Charlie puffed up his chest and spoke. It was to add, "Excuse me, I asked the artist, not you," I said. "Mr. Ascot has asked me to speak for him," Charlie said. "My readers are not interested in your statements, Mr. Donaldson, only in those of the artist Renato Ascot. Wren, I'll ask the same question. What is the significance of the lights?" I asked. "You seem familiar. Have we met?" Charlie asked. "Once," I said. "You didn't leave a very good impression. You, sir, are rude, and I will let your paper know about this incident," Charlie said. "I've been called worse, Mr. Donaldson," I said, giving Charlie a smile. My disguise was working. Nobody recognized me. Back to my question, and Mr. Donaldson, I would appreciate that you keep your mouth shut. Wren, about the lights. It's different from your other work. Perhaps you could explain their significance, and why one little light is broken." Wren looked at Charlie as if asking for help. "No, asking permission." "They are just decoration," Wren said, but he didn't look up. The title of the first painting, Take Me With You, is a rather interesting title. Where would you like to go, and who is it you would like to go with? Is there some special meaning to the red bird flying away? I asked. Once again, Charlie spoke. It's metaphorical. Who knows where artists get their ideas? Mr. Donaldson, it's the artist's thoughts I'm interested in, not yours. Please let him answer, I said. Charlie shrugged his shoulders to the crowd, as if to suggest that I was being unreasonable. I don't wish to comment on that, Wren said, taking a sidelong glance at Charlie, as if he were seeking approval. Mr. Ascot, the dying flower at the bottom of If, does it represent someone you know? Perhaps someone you once had feelings for? I asked. Charlie's eyes narrowed, and he glanced at Wren. Something about the momentary hardness in his eyes frightened me, not for myself, but for Wren. Wren cowered an inch away from Charlie. "Your questions are very personal, and I don't appreciate them," Charlie said. I half turned to the rest of the crowd and spoke to them. "What is it with this man? We've seen Wren Ascot's work for years, and Wren has told us all about his works and his inspirations. Charles Donaldson, the multimillionaire boyfriend, won't let the artist we've come to see speak for himself. Why is that, Mr. Donaldson?" "Wren has felt unwell lately," Charlie said. "His paintings reflect that," I said. "It's not like his others, say, the portrait called Scarlet. Wren poured his love into that one, but the paintings in the gallery show different emotions, and they scare me. Wren, you're not happy with the choices you made, are you?" Only Wren and I knew about the painting called Scarlet. Wren looked at me. His eyes blinked a couple of times, then widened. I gave him a half smile and said, "Hi." "This interview is over. I am complaining to your editor, young man," Charlie said. "Why do you think you are in control?" "Good thing I only have one more question," I said. "Ask it and leave us alone," Charlie said. "Wren, let me offer you an alternative to being Charlie's trophy. I'm not perfect, and I've been selfish. My needs and career always came first, but that's going to change. Whatever we do, let's do it as partners. I promise to never take you and your talent for granted, and I promise to love you like I should have loved you from the very beginning," I said, holding out my hand. "Do you want to choose again?" Charlie's mouth flattened, and his face reddened. "Louis Hattinger?" Wren nodded, shaking his hand free of Charlie's. The warm smile on Wren's face was the only answer I needed. "I need to get one thing," Wren said. He went to the painting of the red bird with the silver eye, twisted the silver reflection a little, and pulled our wedding ring off. "I'm ready to come home." "I missed you," I whispered, and gave Wren a quick kiss. As we left the gallery, something odd caught my eye. The little red flower on Wren's second painting was no longer dark, but was blazing pure scarlet. The end. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I appreciate it. Peace.